Yo, what's good? What's good? What's going on? I want to start off by giving all praises to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Shai. We're moving on in this 11-part series, breaking down the book of Revelation. And so this is part 3. So we're going to cover chapter 5 and chapter 6. And I know y'all see the title, uh, The Black Messiah Complex, because, the Messiah is a black man. And how did we get here? So, and it's just kind of briefly going. These two chapters. 5 is like talking about like right before the 7 seals get open, and 6 is like with the 7 seals being open and events that happen when each seal is being broken. So we're gonna cover that. And some of y'all might be familiar because we did something a little earlier. You know, in a month where last month where we kind of went over the 7 seals, but now we just, like I said, we're just going through the book chapter by chapter, to give an understanding of the book of Revelation. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. So this is Revelation chapter 5, and we'll start at 1. And it says, "And I saw the right hand of him that sat on the throne, a book written and on the backside sealed with 7 seals." Right. So John the Revelator is, seeing Yahweh with this book that is sealed with 7 seals. And when we get into that, we can jump to explain that. We can get into Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4. And Daniel chapter 12 verse 4 says, "But thou, Daniel," because this is like going to the prophecy of what Daniel saw and giving a little further, expanding on what he had saw. So it says, it was Daniel 12 and 4. "But Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book." So right here, John the Revelator is seeing a book that is sealed. So this is the same book, metaphorically speaking. Metaphorically speaking, that Daniel had written. So it says, "But Daniel, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end." So, the certain prophecies that some of these prophets have received were not for their time, it's for latter times, meaning our time during the last days. So he told Daniel to seal up this book, and because it's for our time, it's for us to understand it. So, and it says, it says, it says, "O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase." So we're in that time right now where knowledge is increasing because we have what they call the internet, smartphones, all that stuff, all this technology. Basically, you got a whole library in the palm of your hand. You can, research different things and all that. So we're living in a time of where knowledge will increase, whether it's good knowledge or bad knowledge, but knowledge is increasing in these times. So he told Daniel that, basically saying that these prophecies I'm giving you now is not for the people at that time or to understand, but for a later time, which would be our time now. So, so, so yeah. So it says, where many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. So we're gonna continue. So this is verse 2 in Revelation 5 and 1. "And I saw an angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and loosen the seals thereof. And no man in heaven nor earth under the earth was able to open up the book and loosen the seals thereof. Okay, and no man, let me read again. And no man in heaven nor neither under the earth was able to open the book, neither be look thereon, right? And it says, and I wept much, because Daniel, or John wanted to understand what was in the book, but he couldn't get into the book because wasn't nobody worthy enough to open and understand these prophecies during that time, right? So so we keep reading. It says, and one of the elders, well, and I'll read again. And I wept much because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look therein. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open a book and to loosen the seven seals. So that's the root of David. That's the Mashiach, Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus. And so it says, verse 6, and I behold, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the four beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, and had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which were the Spirit of God, and sent forth unto all the earth. Right? So we're gonna see who this is, who this lamb is. We're gonna jump to just jump to Luke 1:68. It says, "Bless the Lord God of Israel, for He hath visited and redeemed His people. He hath risen up a horn of salvation for us, um, in the house of His servant David, as He spoke by the mouth of His holy prophets, which have been since the world began." Right. So this is who we getting into, like how this is the Messiah, who the world calls Jesus, and so yeah, we hold on one second. Go to Psalms real quick too, and go to Psalms 132 and 17. uh, There I will make a horn of David to bud. I have ordained a lamp for my anointed. So that's who we, looking at who this man is, who's, worthy enough to open up this book, which is who we know as Jesus, whose real name is Yahushua in Hebrew. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne. And he had taken the book. The 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden bowls full of odors, and which are the prayers of the saints. Right. Um, so we're gonna jump to let's go to John real quick. So we're gonna go to John chapter 1:29 real fast, right? So then it says, the next day John seated Jesus coming unto him, seated Jesus coming unto him, and said, Behold, the Lamb of God, which taken away the sins of the world. So, like I said, so we're getting into who this person is, and we know that this is the Mashiach Yahushua. And so it says, and they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeem us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue, and the people and the nations, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Right? So yeah, so so it says, yeah, so we're gonna so we shall reign on the earth, right? And so it's we're gonna jump to real quick to Isaiah get Isaiah real quick. 61:4. So it says, let me read again. Has made us unto our God, king and priest, and we shall reign over the earth, and we shall reign over the earth, right? So, and that's getting into like the kingdom and how these other nations is gonna, how we're gonna have, be over these other nations, and how it says in Isaiah 61:4, and they shall go and build in old ways, and in the old ways, and they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities and the desolation of many generations. And the strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien, which is people that's outside of Israel, just like when foreigners come here, they call them, illegal aliens. So the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers, meaning they're going to be working for us in that day, because we're going to be in position of rulership. But that's what biblically what heaven means, for the Israelites to have dominion and rulership. So I'm kind of stressy, yo. So then they this is verse 9, and they sung a new song saying, "Thou art worthy, take the book to open the seals thereof, for thou was slain and hast redeemed us to God by the blood of every kindred and every tongue and people of the nation, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign over the earth. And I behold, and I heard the voice of many angels around about the throne, and the beast, and the elders, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. Meaning there was many angels, and many, they was all turned up, because it was hyped up, seeing, Yahweh shall open up this book and getting ready to let these prophecies fly too. And so then saying with a loud voice, "Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to perceive the power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessings. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the sun, and such as there are in the sea, and all that in all them I hear saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb forever and ever." So, so they turned up, they getting hyped up, they seeing who the world called Jesus, getting ready to open up this book, break down the seven seals, so all these prophecies can come to pass, come to pass as we see certain things happening now. Like a lot of us is waking up to our biblical identity, understanding that we are the Israelites, who people might call the Jews, or the Hebrew Israelites. So the angels is turning up, and they, because he's getting ready to open up all these, and that's part of the prophecies too, like us waking up. So then, and the four beasts said, "Amen." And the four beasts, and the 4 and 20 elders fell down and worship him that liveth forever and ever. So, they getting turned up, worshiping God and all that cool stuff. So now we're gonna jump into 6. So now chapter 6 is dealing with the getting into the 7 seals. So we're gonna get into that. Oh, 1 second. So like. So I can. So we're gonna get into chapter 6 now. So And I saw, and when I and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, I heard as there were a noise and thunder, one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." So getting ready to open up the first seal. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. He that sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer, right? So when you get into that, and you look at, that word bow in the Hebrew, it means a toxic bow. So this is uh, the Roman Empire during 70 AD. This is, giving you because these seals cover a time frame, a length of time. It's like, so it does, it covers from, like a whole time period. It's going to highlight different events throughout history. And so that's when certain seals were being broken. So the first seal broke during 70 AD when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, and we got cast out of Israel. And that's how we end up running to the west coast of Africa. Some of us ran into Europe. Some of us ran further south in Africa. Some of us ran into the Middle East, but predominantly a lot of us ran into the west coast of Africa. And you can read about that history in the book of what's that Timbuktu, and several other books that kind of explain how we got to the west coast of Africa and other places. So it says, verse 3. Wait, hold on. Let me, matter of fact, let's get, Zechariah real quick. Get Zechariah 6 and boom, boom, boom. We're going to go to Zechariah 1 and 6. 6 and 1. So, because like I said, we got to understand that these spirits, these four horsemen, these different horses that we're going to, see that's represented in this chapter 6 right here in Revelation is different spirits over different regions of the earth. And it says, so this is Zechariah 6 and 1. And I turned and lift my eye and looked, and behold, there came four chariots out between the two mountains, and the mountains were of brass, right? And the mountains were of brass, and the first chariot was a red horse, and the second chariot was a black horse, and the third chariot was a white horse, and the fourth chariot, uh, glistened and bayed horses. And I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me, "What are these, my Lord? What are these, my Lord?" And the angel answered and said, "These are the four spirits." Because, like I said, these horses that you read about in Revelation chapter 6 is like four different spirits that has control over these different regions of the planet. And it says these four spirits, um, these are four spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth, right? So that's what these four spirits, these four horses is. They're these different spirits that God put, to influence men, in different nations and different parts of the world. So it says, now back to Revelation 6 and 3, it says, and when I had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." So now the first seal is the Roman Empire ransacking Israel and destroying Israel in 70 AD. So now we're getting to the second seal. Second seal, and I heard he had opened a second seal. I heard a second beast say, "Come and see." Um, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him that sat on a throne to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. Uh, that they should kill one another. Uh, it was given to him a great sword. So So now, you got so you got the Roman Empire, is the first seal, and the second seal as it being broke, is these different European nations that's, fighting against each other and fighting for dominance and control, like they, like we can see right now how you got the Western European nations and the Eastern European nations, how they, at odds right now. So, I mean, like you said, there's nothing new under the sun. So we're gonna get to we're gonna jump to Ecclesiasticus, whatever how you say it, Ecclesiasticus, right? And we're gonna get boom, boom, boom. We're gonna go to Ecclesiasticus in 39. I think I went 39, 39, and boom, 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 I think 28. So then it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance. So, like I said, we get into these four different spirits, these four different horsemen, and the Bible is telling you that these spirits are created for, vengeance. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In time of destruction, they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. So they all you know like I said, the Most High made these spirits, and they are fulfilling His will and what He wants them to do. As these prophecies and different things come to pass, right? And it went out and it went out another horse that was red, and the power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And so we're gonna like I said, we're gonna jump to let's go to just go up to 12 and real quick, 12 and 9. Boom, boom, boom. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, Satan, which deceived the whole world. Uh, he was cast out onto the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. Right. So now this is talking about what we call the Dark Ages, right? And so this, because they were, because the Roman Empire was thriving at one point, right? And the Roman Empire, got taken out of power. So then you have the Dark Ages, which in school they call it the Dark Ages, only because us color folks, us black people, was ruling Europe during that time. So it became the Dark Ages. So he was cast down because he lost power during that age, during that time. So he lost power during that time, and so then that's why like I said, in school they call it the Dark Ages. But so yeah, it was so they it was a point in time where they wasn't ruling Europe like that. And so let's just jump to Proverbs 29:2 real quick. It says Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And that's what we see now too, like, because the world is being ran by a bunch of wicked people. That's why there's no peace on earth. Like how that saying goes, peace on earth, whatever, right? Because it tells you when the righteous in authority, people rejoice. And so since the people that run this earth, they don't have a righteous bone in their body, it's a lot of hell, a lot of war, a lot of famine, a lot of stuff going on, right? And it says, when he opened up the third seal, he said, I heard the third beast say, come and see, and I behold, and lo, it was a black horse, and he that sat on it, on a black, okay, and lo, and it was a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balance in his hand. So when you break this down, a pair of balance is talking about slavery, right? So it's giving you a timeline. 70 AD was the first seal. Then the second seal was when the Roman Empire got taken down. People was fighting against each other. Then it came into the Dark Ages. So now the third seal, right, that's where we at, right? Yeah, the third seal is talking about our slavery when we got put into slavery, and so and so because like I said, when you get into the Hebrew and understand like the balances is uh talking about slavery. So it says, and when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And behold, lo, a black horse, and he that sat upon it had a pair of balance in his hand, right? And so then and a pair of balance in his hand, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, "Measure wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of the barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil or the wine." Right? So we're gonna break that down. So like I said, so the scale represents slavery. And tell you about where it says like measure the wheat and the barley, meaning during this time of slavery, the food that they're gonna be rationing out food to us. They're just gonna feed us enough to keep us alive. So that's why you have the scale and it's telling you measure the measure the wheat and all that stuff. Because during that time, they just they gave us leftovers, and just enough to keep us to survive. And especially if you when you get into the how the slaves was being treated in the Caribbean and Haiti, you know they had a very low life expectancy, and it was feeding them the bare minimum, you know. So so it says just, and just get into a couple of precepts about that real quick. So now this we can go to first. We can go to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Because like I said, it's talking about slavery, and it says Deuteronomy 28:64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all nations, from one end to the other, even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, neither nor thy father have known wood and stone. So when we got, took into slavery and they took us all over the world, sold us to different nations, we start following different customs, cause that we haven't, followed before. And, so then what else we got? Let's go to, let's see, what I want. I mean, but yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all get it. But that's like, it's getting into the different, how we got into slavery, and that's what the black horse represent. And and I heard a voice, in the midst of the four beasts saying, "Measure the wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley, and for the penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." And the oil and the wine is our knowledge, our understanding. Because during that time of slavery too, you had a few, people that still understood that we were Israelites, that we were Hebrew. Because when you look at the slave registry list, when they brought us over here, a lot of the people they brought over here as slaves had Yah in their name, like YAH, either in the beginning of their name or at the end of their name. So a lot of us knew who we was. That's why they had to beat us and brought us over here naked, strip us of our clothes, then over time made us lose our language, our names, and all that stuff because we had but a little knowledge. Then you had so you had a few people that understood that there was Israelites. Just like such as Harriet Tubman, her family maintained that knowledge and understanding that they were Israelites, and I believe they said they came from the Ashanti tribe over on West Africa, if I'm not mistaken. So boom, boom, boom. So let's just go to Ezekiel really quick. We'll go to Ezekiel 4 and 8, right? It says, "Behold, I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another until thou hast ended the days of the siege. Take thou unto the wheat and barley and beans." 'Cause we just read about the wheat and barley and how that's representing how they were rationing out the food to us, just feeding us enough to keep us alive during that time. And take thou unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fetches, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side, 339 days shalt thou eat thereof. So so when you get into Ezekiel chapter 4, is breaking down what we'll call the 400-year prophecy of us being in slavery. A lot of people, would say that the 400-year prophecy was what the Most High told Abraham, but it's actually, you can find it in the book of Ezekiel chapter 4. So I'm just going through this because, like I said, I already covered the 7 seals in the video before. So a lot of this is kind of already familiar, for people. So go to Zechariah real quick. Go to Zechariah and let's see what I guess you get 6 and 5. So okay, yeah, I think okay. These are the 4 angels. Wait, and the angels answered and said unto me, These are the 4 spirits of the heavens which go forth, standing before the Lord of all the earth, right? And the black horse, which and the black horse, because we talking about the black horse, because like I said, black horse represents slavery. And the black horse which are wherein go forth unto the north country. What is the north country? What we would call North America. And so it says, and the black horse which are wherein go forth unto the north country, and the white go forth after them, and the grizzle go forth towards the south country. So, like I said, so the black horse came into the north country, which is the black horse is a representation of slavery, and it says the white horse follow after, and that white horse was given the power to conquer. So when they came over to this side of the world, they conquered by killing the Native Americans, the people of South America, so-called Hispanic and Latino brothers, the people of the Caribbean. They conquered, and then that black horse was with them, and they enslaved them, right? So now it's making more sense. Hold on, turn this fan on real quick. So now we getting a little more, so now we understand how this black horse and white horse come together and it's, and it represents slavery. But like I said, this Bible is written in a metaphor, but we have to understand that, this is how we talk. That's how we wrote this book, because, we talk in metaphors all the time. And so we'll keep going. And boom, 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 where I'm at. Okay, now I want to. So then, but matter of fact, let's get Jeremiah real quick. We want to make sure we get all the meat off the bone real quick. Let's get Jeremiah 16 and 14. So then it says, Therefore, behold, the days cometh, said the Lord, that it shall no more be said that the Lord liveth brought up out the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, right? Because that's that's the first time we was in slavery, was in Egypt. It says, But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is North America, because that's where our slavery took place. The second, our slavery took place here in North America. So let me read that again. Therefore, the days cometh, said the Lord, that it shall be no more said that the Lord liveth, brought brought up out the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Because when you get into the whole Moses story, and when they, when the children of Israel left out of the Egypt, that made us famous. That's the reason why we talking about this now. Because that story was so, so amazing. That all the nations knew about it, and so then as time progressed, scholars and stuff like that, they start studying it and they start looking at the history and seeing how Egypt, so the whole history and all that stuff. So, and like I said, and the Most High was, he became famous. All the nations knew about the Most High because they knew that he was the God of the Israelites. So, and that was like the talk of the town during that time. So he said, but this time and this, in this, era where we at, it says it's going to be a new thing where, we're not going to talk about how Moses, split the Red Sea and how, with the Israel. Like in Egypt, that's not going to be a thing to talk about no more. They're going to talk about how God brought us out of North America, this time. That's going to be the new thing that people will talk about in the future. How it was Israelites in America and God brought them out. So let's read that again. So it says, but but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which it would be North America, and from all the lands whither he driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So that's the future prophecy of us being delivered out of this America and all the other nations that we got scattered throughout slavery. And so that's how it's not talking about those other people that call themselves, that also call themselves, what they call themselves. And so, because, this is talking about us. They didn't go into slavery in North America. We did. They didn't even go, there's no history of them going into slavery on slave ships at all. But it's history of us and our people being taken into slavery on slave ships, right? So then it says, back in Revelation, and when he had opened up the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And the power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth. And when you get into this, the fourth part of the earth, once again, is talking about North America, South America, because back then they knew about that side of the world, what they would call the old world. Because the three parts of the world is, you had Asia, uh, then you had, what's that? Asia, Europe, and Africa. That was the three parts. So now North America uh, will be the fourth part. North South America, the whole continent will be the fourth part. So it says, um, then and I looked, and behold, the pale horse, and his name that sat on it was Death, and hell followed him, and the power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger and death, and the beasts of the earth, right? And that's what happened when they came over, to this side of the world. They killed all the buffalo, right, from the Native Americans. They damn near starved a lot of the Native Americans out because they killed like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of buffaloes. So when they talk about them killing the cattle and all that stuff, and it says hell followed them, because hell, like I said, biblically speaking, hell is this horrible thing that people go through. There's no such thing as when you die, you go to hell if you're bad, or you go to heaven when you're good. Because heaven and hell is just, heaven is rulership, dominion over the earth. And hell is being in a low state, you know. So, and that's what it is. So when it says hell and death follows them, meaning like everywhere they went, they caused death. And we know their history because every country they touched down at, they never came there. They never come in peace. They always killed the inhabitants there. Then they assumed their identity. You know, like that movie, the Mimic. You know, that was like an old movie in like the early '90s, or I mean late '90s, 2000s, whatever. Like a little alien that goes and kill people, then take over their body and start living like them. That's what they do. That's why they made that movie, because that's just how they are. They go to every country they go to, they kill the people, and then they assume the identity. Then over years and years and years, we start calling them European. And they're not even original Europeans. The original Europeans look just like me and you. But anyway, I digress. So, it says, boom, 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 where I'm at. And when he had opened, okay, and I looked and behold the pale horse, and his name that sat on it was Death, and hell follow him, and the power was given unto him over the four part of the earth, which would be the North South America region, and to kill with the sword, with hunger, and with death, and the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened up the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and the testimony which he had held. And that's what we're getting into now. We're breaking into the fifth seal right now. That's why you see all this commotion going on with people coming to say that they're Israelites. Right now, they're being cool with it. They're just cutting off people's money. They're trying to block people. And, they're trying to, make people look like they're crazy or make them look like they're being hateful. But it's going to come to a time where they're going to start killing us and putting us in prison for saying that we're the Israelites. Like we're reading, because we're approaching the fifth seal now. You can see the beginnings of it on how, upset they are just at somebody putting a tweet or something that they didn't either endorse or not endorse. Only thing they said, only thing Kyrie said was check this book out or check this movie out. Kanye didn't even. Only thing Kanye said was we are Jews too. He didn't say they wasn't Jews. He said we're Jews too. So you can see how much hell that just causing just by saying those things. So we're in the fifth seal now, where we're approaching the fifth seal now, and and it says, and when he opened the fifth seal, and I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held, because a lot of us gonna die, because of the stuff that we're saying, and a lot of us is ready to die for the stuff that we're saying, and that's because we're no cowards. There ain't no cowards in this. So if you're gonna speak the truth, and you're gonna be able to die and be ready to die for that. And and that's just how it go down. You can't be like Nick Cannon and say, yeah, we're the Jews. Then soon they put the pressure on you, you want to apologize. You gotta be ready to 10 toes down on this. Ready to die, lose your life, whatever, for this, because that's what's gonna happen. Because this is Bible said we're gonna go into slavery. It happened. And it's telling you all these different things that happen. Because John wrote about all these different things before they all happened. And since we're living in the, after, we can look back at the future and see that these things happen. So we know that if that happened, then this stuff that we're reading now is going to come to pass. We're just not there yet, but we're getting there. That's why you see all the hell, all the commotion that's being kicked up, because people are saying that they're the real Jews now. And people just talking. We ain't nobody got no weapons in their hands or nothing. We just said that we are the real Israelites. We are the biblical Israelites that you read about when you open up that book called the Bible. You read about yourself and your ancestors, your history. It's not a book of religion, like how they try to make it out to be, like this is a religious thing. No, it's your culture. You cannot wake up and convert to being a Chinese person. You cannot convert to being an East Indian. You're either born one or you're not. That's just how it is. Only conversion is you coming back to the understanding of who we are, right? So then, it says, and I look and behold the pale horse. No, where I'm at. And when he had opened up the fifth seal, and I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony they held. and they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge the blood of them that dwell on the earth?" So, that's what we're gonna be waiting on. And the white robes were given unto them. Um, the white robes was given unto them, and was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their until their was that until their fellow servants also, their brethren, should be killed as they were, and, as they should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled, right? So, like I said, a lot of people going, now, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of Nick Cannons around here. Meaning, you're gonna have a lot of people that end up backing down in that day. Because a lot of people, they might know the truth, or whatever, but not a lot of people gonna be willing to stand on it and actually look down the barrel of a gun, look down the gallows, you know, look at the hangman rope and still say, "I'm an Israelite." They're gonna, they're gonna fold in that day. It's kind of like what they did to Nick Cannon. It's kind of like y'all remember the movie, the little TV show, The Wire. And like when I look at it, like how these people be trying to make these people go to the Holocaust Museum and sit down with these rabbis and stuff. That's equivalent to in The Wire when Chris and Snoop come and take you and make you walk with them down the alley. That's how I look at it. Because once you walk down that, what old boy said in the Wire. Last time I seen him, they was with Chris and Snoop walking down the alley. I never seen him again. So same thing. Last time we seen Nick Cannon talking like he was on business. So then he got sat down with that Jewish rabbi, and he never said anything else again. So sitting down with those going to the Holocaust Museum and sitting down with those little funky ass rabbis. Sorry, I was trying to be cool, but I couldn't. Can't. Sitting down with them people. It's equivalent to on the Wire when Snoop and Chris call your butt and tell you to come walk with them. You'll never ever be seen again. Your manhood will be stricken, castrated, and just crazy. That's how it goes down. And and white robes was given unto them, and white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest for a little season, until their fellow servants also, their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So yeah, a lot of so we're gonna have to go through a lot of things in that day, and we gotta be prepared to go through those things. So now just getting into World War III. So like I said, this is a timeline. This is like these different seals. It's not like these different seals last for decades at a time. Until the next seal be broken. So it's like a dispensation of time. So now from from that seal we jump into the sixth seal, which would be World War III starting. And it says, and I behold, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the hairs and as black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. That great earthquake is when those bombs start going off. When the bombs start going off, that's gonna cause like earthquakes, a little seismic activity. That's gonna cause the what they call the little platonic plates to start shifting and stuff. Cause they got big bombs nowadays. It's not like what they had in Hiroshima World War II stuff. They got even bigger stuff now. And it says, and I behold, when they had opened the sixth seal, lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, even as the fig tree cast her untimely figs when she was shaken when she was shaken by a mighty wind, and the heaven departed up as like a scroll, and every mountain and island was removed out of their place. So when it says like the stars and stuff falling from heaven, meaning like these, these people, these, nations, these kingdoms, they're gonna fall down, they're gonna die, being destroyed. It's not talking about actual stars, because in the church they'll teach you like, oh, these stars are gonna start falling and all. No, it's talking about people. Because I remember, as I was, trying to tell, explaining one time, the Bible used stars, trees, plant life, cattle, different things as metaphors to explain people and nations. Mountains and all the different stuff, would be a way how they explain different nations and people. So just jump to Jeremiah real quick. So go to Jeremiah 16 and 16, right? And it says, behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Lord, and they shall fish them, and after I will send many hunters, right? So, and that's what we're getting ready to see, you know, because right now, I mean, that's what we're seeing now. When you see people coming out and talking about where Israelites, they're fishing, fishing the people, trying to bring them in. So, and he says after, you know, then it says after he's going to send many hunters, right? And you know what hunters do. But let me get back to Revelation real quick. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the den, in the rocks of the mountains. So that's why he's gonna first. That's why he's sending out fishermen to fish for his people. That's why you see a lot of information coming out now. Explaining who we are as a people. Those are what you call the fishermen. And he said we're gonna send out many hunters. And why are you gonna send out many hunters? Because like what we just read in Revelation 6 and 16, that I mean with 15, the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bond and free man hid themselves in the dens, and the cliffs, and the rocks. Because you got these people, what they call doomsday preppers, right? That will buy these little things that they can dig and put in the ground that that they think are going to protect them from the nuclear fallout. They think they can just survive down there for months or however much food they got to survive. So then in that day, the Lord going to send out hunters to find those people that's hiding in those hills and mountains and caves and they little doomsday prepper box. They little whatever they little call those little things that they have. That they build and put in their backyard. So I mean, that's because the Lord has got a great judgment for this place. Because and He gonna send out his people to go get them. And when you get into the book of Ezra, it kind of explain all of that, right? So then, and said to me, what it said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. So in that day, they're gonna be scared because Yahweh shall come back to the world called Jesus. They're gonna be scared because cause a lot of people gonna be scared and they know their time is up, And so when Jesus come back, Yahweh shall, like I said, it's gonna be a terrifying day. It's not gonna be like how church is. Like, oh, you gotta, how church make it seem like, yeah, just believe like Jesus coming back, handing out hugs and kisses. No, he's coming back with the sword. He's gonna kill many, many, many. He's coming to kill a third of humanity, for what they did to his people. That's why you read in Revelation 1 and 14 about his eyes being red as fire because he's pissed off. He's angry for all the atrocities that they did to his people. That's why when you read into Isaiah, was it 63, and it talk about how his garment is going to be sprinkled with their blood. But church is not telling you that Jesus is coming back and getting his clothes dirty with blood because he's going to be stumping on these nations like they're grapes, like it tell you in Isaiah. So, and it says, and and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us. So in that day, they're gonna be hoping that when they be hiding themselves in these mountains and underground, they gonna hope that the mountain just collapse and just crush them. Cause they rather be crushed by that mountain than have Yahweh and his angels come and drag them up out of their little holes that they call themselves hiding in, their little doomsday prepper boxes and all that stuff. They gonna be wishing for that, but they ain't gonna get it because they gotta serve 1,000 years of slavery. Cause that's called justice. Cause we serve 400 years of slavery, but the Bible says God said He's going to reward them double. Whatever we went through and been going through for the last 500 years, these other nations are going to have to go through it, but double time. So that's why it's 1,000 years of slavery for them. So it says, and they said unto the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne. Because they're going to be scared in that day. And in the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? It says, the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? So that's what happened. The great day of his wrath is coming, and they like, who's going to be able to stand it? So, and it's going to be that day that, everybody going to be afraid, and it's not going to be like, how a happy-go-lucky time when that day happened. Like how they, try to portray it in church, like, it's gonna be no, it's not gonna be. It's gonna be hell on earth for real, you know. And only the ones that is, that came back and repented, the repentant Israelites, is gonna be the only ones that are gonna be able to be protected in that day, because it's a great judgment that's about to be passed on this earth. So, and you listen to some of these uh, people, these churches, they acting like, they not even mentioning none of this stuff. They still preaching that prosperity gospel. Oh, God is gonna bless you, sow this seed, and you know, and you got all this stuff coming and all that stuff. Whatever. No, I mean, gas prices are still going up. Food is still going up. Like I said, I just seen how today America is running low on diesel fuel, and a lot of these 18 wheelers, these Mack trucks, these different vehicles, they use diesel fuel to transport things. I made a joke earlier in the week about I was waiting on my UPS delivery to come, and I'm waiting to see a truck pull up, and the mug pull up in a Chevy Malibu, and I'm like, now that I'm understanding that America is running low on diesel fuel, it makes more sense now that he didn't pull up in a UPS truck, because America doesn't have the gas like that to just be sparing like that. They got a war to prepare for. So, and they're gonna need some whatever diesel gas they got left. They're gonna need that for their army vehicles. So, like I said, this is what we coming. This is what the world is coming to. It ain't what they've been trying to portray as church, like everything gonna happen and work out. No, I mean, yeah, it's gonna get better later once the Israelites is in control and all these other nations are taken down out of power. And then then like I said, then we end up how it says, excuse me, there, and how it says that we're gonna overcome in the end. Then we're gonna be that superpower at the end. So like I said, we that was 5 and 6, you know, and 6 is like I said dealing with the 7 seals, and 5 is like dealing with the excitement of Yahweh Shai, opening up the book and revealing these 7 seals. So now that we're in this time, how it says, like, knowledge shall increase. So we understand now what the 7 seals is, because we can see it coming to pass. And right now we're living in the 5th seal, where the persecution of God's people is going to start to happen. And a lot of us are going to have to be strong in that day and not cower it out like Nick Cannon and try to apologize and you got to stand 10 toes down. And that's what we got to do. You got to be willing to die, because what the Bible says, if you're not, he does, if you're not worthy of him, like, I forgot, I'm paraphrasing, but basically saying, like, don't be no punk, basically, I don't want to mess up the verse by paraphrasing, but basically that's what he's saying. And we can't be no punk in that day. So we got to stand 10 toes down, keep the faith in the Mashiach Yahushua, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, and wait on that day. So that's the fifth and sixth chapter of Revelation. Then we'll get into 7 and 8 next time in part 4. So with that, I hope y'all have a little understanding, and also too, you can go into it. I did a video about almost a month ago about the 7 seals, and it's more detailed than this. You know, so you want more clarity, then you can check that video out too. So until then, I want to say shalom and holla at y'all next time, and peace.